This video will hopefully be shorter than the other two. It goes over how to multiply mixed numbers. And already we can say that if you can change a mixed number to an improper fraction and you can multiply fractions, then you can multiply mixed numbers. The process is pretty simple after that. So far, our process for multiplying fractions we've gone over in class has been to cross cancel if possible, multiply numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator, and then just as a final check, simplify if necessary. So that's the process so far. So now, why not? Let's add one more step. It's a small step. And again, if you can change a mixed number to an improper fraction, you're already there. So we're going to multiply mixed numbers. You can, but we won't be multiplying mixed numbers, at least not yet for this part of the lesson. So that means we need to restate our mixed numbers in another way, an equivalent way. And the other way that we can state a mixed number is to find the improper fraction for that mixed number. Remember, the mixed number and the improper fraction, they're the same part of the whole, or more than one whole. They're the same fraction, the same number. So the additional step we add into the process is that we change any mixed numbers to improper fractions. One thing you don't do first is here we don't cross cancel until we have two fractions. I have a mixed number and a fraction. I can't cross cancel. So this would be 1/4 times denominator times whole number plus the numerator. So 7 times 2, 14, plus 2 is 16. Everything over 7. Now this is where we look at it. We'll say, can I cross cancel? Yeah, 4 and 16 share a common factor of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 1 times 4 is 4. And 1 times 7 is 7. So 1/4 of 2 and 2/7 is equal to 4/7. And there's our answer. The next example, 5/6 times 2 and 2/5. Again, 5/6 times mixed 2 and proper, multiply denominator times whole number, add the numerator. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12/5. So this is 5/6 times 12/5. Look at our diagonals. Can we cross cancel? Well, 6 and 12 share a common factor of 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. And 5 and 5 share a common factor of 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So that is equal to 2. Okay. Third example, 1 4/5 times 3 and 2/3. Both of them are mixed numbers, so we want to restate them both as improper fractions. Denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9/5, times 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11/3. And we look at the diagonals again. And 3 and 9 share a common factor of 3. Divide them both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 5 and 11 don't share a common factor. So now we're on to numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. Remember, we can leave our improper fractions as improper so far as they're simplified. And 33 and 5 don't share any common factors other than 1. So this answer is great. And if we wanted to, we could change it back to a mixed number. 5 goes into 33 6 times with a remainder of 3/5. So 3 examples in a very short order of time on multiplying improper fractions or mixed numbers by changing them to improper fractions. So where could we use this? Well, what if we had an area problem? When the city is resurfacing a basketball court and we need to find the area of that court. Well, it doesn't change. The formula is still area of a rectangle is length times width. And we want to pick one side, doesn't matter. One side as our length and the other side as our width. So length times width is 13 and a half times 21 and 1/3. And we're talking meters. So mixed one proper. 2 times 23, 2 times 13 is 26. Plus 1 is 27 halves. Times 3 times 21 is 63. Plus 1 is 64 thirds. Okay. Cross cancel. I'm not too fond of the idea of multiplying 27 times 64. So we'll look on our diagonals and see if we can't simplify this before we multiply. And we can see that 3 goes into 27 9 times, and 3 goes into 3 once, and 2 goes into 64 32 times, and 2 goes into 2 once. So our answer is something over 1. 9 times 32. Here's where that mental math and that distributive property comes in very handy. 9 times 30, 270. Plus 9 times 2, 18. 270 plus 18 is 288 over 1, or 288 square meters. And there's our answer. We're getting a little more involved in our work, so let's make sure that we're circling or boxing in our final answers. I think actually boxing it in is a little neater. Okay, so that's how we multiply mixed numbers. Change your mixed number to an improper fraction, cross cancel if possible, and then numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. And if necessary, double check your product, your answer in the end, to see if you can't simplify it a little further. So here are the 4 examples that I want for class. But I did say we could look at it another way. So real quick, you're not responsible for this, but I'm just showing it to you. So it's another way to do the multiplication, is using the distributive property. Okay, so if you're still with me at this point, don't forget the distributive property. A times the sum b plus c is a times b plus a times c. And if we know anything about our fractions and our mixed numbers are just a sum. It's a whole number plus a fraction. So another way to look at 5 6 times 2 2/5 is to look at it as 5 6 times the quantity of 2 plus 2/5. And the distributive property looks something like this. 5 6 times 2 over 1 plus 5 6 times 2/5 using the distributive property. So 5 6 times 2 over 1 plus 5 6 times 2/5. Okay, there's our distributive property, that 5 6 was distributed to each of the addends inside the parentheses. Okay, let's clean that up a little bit. So this is where we can go ahead and do our multiplication. We say 5 6 times 2 over 1. Well, we can cross cancel. 2 goes into once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So this product here, 5 times 1 is 5. So that's 5 thirds. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus, and then we can cross cancel here. These two cancel out. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And 5 and 5. 5 goes into each once. So if 1 times 1 is 1. And 3 times 1 is 3. So now we have 5 thirds plus 1/3, which equals 6 thirds, which we can simplify down to 2. So that says that 5 6 of 2 2/5 is equal to 2. Way to check that is to do the multiplication the way that we just learned above at the top of the page by changing our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So this is our final answer, but let's just check. 5 6 times 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 over 5. We can cross cancel. 5 and 5 is 1. 6, 12. 6 goes into 6 1. 6 goes into 12 twice. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. 2 over 1, which equals 2. This way actually it turns out to be a little bit faster, but sometimes it may be worthwhile to know how to use your distributive property. Okay, it's not a bad property to know and to use in multiplying whole numbers times mixed numbers. That's probably the best place for it. Okay, so there's my example. Don't forget the 4 questions are right here for you to have for tomorrow. And that's all I have to say. Have a good night.